So, you want to make a Toon Shader, but you don't know where to start. Well, neither did I. I'm Gigi and this was my first time making a shader, so I learned a lot, but I still have a lot to learn. In this video, I'll give you some tips of some things I learned and I'll take you on a journey of how things started. But beware, this is not a full in-depth tutorial, so I'll leave some videos here that will help you out and maybe get things started as it did for me. I'm gonna ask you a question. What type of shader do you think would be the right one for a Toon Shader? Lit or unlit? Maybe it's just me, but I thought we would use lit because, we're working with lights. But turns out that most Toon Shaders use unlit shaders. And why is that? Well, let me explain. So, lit shaders, they do the work for you. All the math that is needed to calculate how light works in Engine, they do it. But unlit shaders, you do the math. It's all up to you. That's really good because you have a lot of freedom. You also have a lot more problems, but you have freedom, and we do love freedom! But seriously, unlit is the way to go, especially if you want to make very specific changes to how the light works. Trust me, you don't want to go against the Unity pipeline. The pipeline scares me. I love the pipeline, I love the Unity pipeline. Please don't hurt me, Unity pipeline. Little tip, beware of lights. No, really, beware of lights. Not lights, multiple lights. Test your shader on multiple lights. Seriously. Why? I'll explain. So, if you're using unlit like with it, a lot of problems can arise when counting for multiple lights. And yeah, this will differentiate between what settings you're using in your project. We're using the forward plus render pipeline, and I'll leave the code here that we're using to make this work. But yeah, please investigate that. It will be different depending on what settings you have. Getting the right look. It seems simple, but it requires some preparation. In my opinion, the best way to go is starting with some concepts, either drawing, photo bashing, or using tools like Blender. Why? Because you want to know what you're aiming for. But beware of something, if you use tools like Blender, unfortunately you can just click export after you make a shader in Blender. It's the same exact shader in Unity. I know, boo, we wish it worked like that. But yeah, it's still a great tool for you to work, of course, but beware that knowing how nodes work in Blender, it's not the same how nodes work in shaders like Unity. As you will see if you start looking up, or if you have been binge watching a lot of Toon Shader videos, they all kinda look the same. And that's not a critique on them, that's the basis of Toon Shader. But if you want to go a little bit further and want to make some differences that are not as common, well, that's when problems start, because you don't have anywhere to look. But why do I say this? Please start with the base. Especially if, like me, you have never made a shader before. Follow these tutorials and get a Toon Shader that is quite simple but works. Why? Because you'll learn how things work. You'll learn what math is needed and what values you can change and cannot change. Please do that. Follow one of these tutorials I'll send you, or all of them, and please look into getting your basis started, and then you can build on it. Talking about building on it, to wrap things off, I'll show you some of the changes we made for the Buried Within Clay look, and maybe if you want to achieve something similar, this will help you out. First, something we knew we wanted was a multi-band distribution of the light. So most Toon Shaders, as you'll see, have basically a light and a dark band. We want to see various bands. This is quite simple, it goes into how the cell shader is calculated, but basically we also have this variable n, so we can change the different bands, not only to different materials, but also to allow some experimentation if we want less or more bands. I suggest for values like n here to be able to change them in the inspector window. And why? Because it just makes experimentation easier. You don't need to go back to your code, and if you decide, oh, I actually wanted 5 bands instead of 3 bands, well, it's easy. You can just go to your material or to your shader and change them. Another thing we wanted to add was using normal maps to give some perceived height variation to some of our materials. Don't worry, this sounds more complicated than it is. It is quite simple. You just have to feed your normal map into your shader and add it to your regular normal. I can leave the code here, it's quite simple. There's also some post-processing effects that we use that I can show you here, but shader-wise, those are the 2 main differences that we made. I want to give you a little tip before I wrap things up. Please use subshader graphs. They're basically just graphs within graphs, and they make it easier if you want to reuse parts of code or use parts of shaders. So let's wrap things up. First, I wanted to say that if you're watching this video, it's probably because you want to make a Toon Shader or you're interested in a process, and trust me, you can do it. It was my first time making a shader. I think it looks good, great. I don't know, let me know. Trust me, you can do it. Trust me, you can make it, and believe in yourself. And please look at those awesome videos that will be linked down below. I wanted to keep things short here, but remember, it takes time. The current state of the shader took me at least a week work-wise. So yeah, please take your time, but start off with a simple base. Get things working, and please do not procrastinate. I know it's easy to procrastinate, but if you want to make a Toon Shader, start right now. Right after this video, go watch some of those videos, and please start. If you want to check out a little bit more about how the shader looks, you can go watch the teaser trailer for Buried Within Clay. I will link it up here. We also appreciate the views, of course. Thank you for your time, and if you have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments regarding anything I said in this video or any details you don't understand in other videos. I can try to help you. But yeah, please ask away. I'll explain it to you like you're 5, because that's how I learn stuff. So yeah, please feel free to leave your comments. Thank you for your time, and bye bye.